How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm getting ready for a show this weekend, and so I'm in my studio trying to. Hi, Donna. I'm trying to, get everything set up, and I'm still putting pieces together, and hanging things on the wall and everything. So yeah.
Wow, that's so cool. This is
Wow.
an art show, a music show, or both?
Pardon?
Is it an art show, music show, or
It's art.
both?
It's an art show.
That's
Yeah, it's
so
my
cool.
glass and jewelry, and that kind of thing. So it's oh, I should have a thing here. It's called Desert Open Studios, and it's 154 artists in the Coachella Valley. And so it's kind of a tour, and you get a map, and you can go around and visit people's studios. And yeah, it's really great. I did it last couple of years, so this is the first time in my own studio, though. So that's why it's all kind of more nerve-wracking.
That's so rad. Like how long have you been doing this? And it takes for me, I trip out. Like I can't believe that. Like just reading about some of the things that you've done art wise. Like I have to ask you this: how do you even work with glass? Like how does that even happen?
It just
Even when I've seen people do it, it's like how on earth?
well, it just depends on what format, because there's different ways of working in glass. And so I tend to make glass beads, which is kind of glass blowing on a small scale, and I've got an open flame and I'm melting glass. And then I also do kiln work, or fusing is what it's called, and so that is working in the kiln and cutting glass and putting it together. And then when I'm lucky, I get to blow glass in the furnace, but I haven't been able to do that for quite a while. But yeah, it's really good.
Just the
And
fact that you can do it, man.
yeah,
like
yeah, it's
like the
good.
process of that is just a trip, like to make something like that, and it's just like flames make that. I mean, I can't even explain it. And the fact that like you actually do it, it's just like that's mind-boggling.
Yeah, yeah.
Man.
Wow, I can't believe all these people here. That's really great. Oh, goodness.
Yeah, they're giving you the
Yeah,
salutations.
yeah, it's really nice. Hi, yes, yeah, we're good. Enjoying the desert life.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So how is it out in Coachella? The furthest that I've ever been, I've been like kind of to Palm Springs, but
Yeah.
I visited the art. What's the name of that Salvation Mountain? I met
Oh,
that guy
that's out
before
near,
you passed.
I think that's out near Salton Sea. So
Yeah.
that's a bit further from here, but yeah, yeah. This is I'm like maybe 10 minutes from Palm Springs, and 20, half an hour from Joshua Tree, kind of in the middle of all the stuff, not far from the city, town of Coachella, and all of the desert cities. So just kind of out here in the valley.
Man,
Yeah.
meditating, man. So cool. Wow. Well, I wore this shirt, and I'm sure you know the reason why I wore it, because you actually knew this
Wait,
person. And
I can't see who that is.
this is a Germs t-shirt,
Oh yeah.
but
Oh,
the
so
lady
that's a
that drew
Sean
this,
Carey shirt. Yeah.
yep,
Her design.
yeah, man. Like I mean, and it's a trip because like I'm like, let me see, I might as well wear this since you were in a band with her.
Yeah.
And was that band the
Yes.
Cockpits?
Yeah. That was the first band. And I joined them. Well, that was a long, long time ago. And I answered an ad in the Reader, which is like the local paper. It's full of ads, sort of like how it used to be Music Connection. There's and BAM and those things. And so you go through and look and see if you can find a band that you can get into. And it was good because they were all. Well, some of the people were at UCSD, and I was learning ceramics there at the time. And so, yeah, and I had a guitar and an amp, and I was wanted to play.
Man, how like so when you guys formed, like how was the whole punk thing like in general, like especially in San Diego, we rarely hear about like a lot of late 70s punk, the punk thing going on in San Diego. People know about Battalion and Saints
Yeah.
and like a lot of my friends were in bands like Justin Pearson from The Locust, and all my friends
Oh,
were in that band,
that's much later.
and Truman's Water way much later, but
Yeah.
we never hear about the earlier stuff.
Yeah, yeah, because LA was so strong at that point, and there were lots of bands there, and X and the Go-Go's, and just all the band, the Germs, and so we were sort of like the stepchildren, and and it's funny because Orange County got more notice than we did, and San Diego people came to play, but it was sort of, San Diego. It was really a sleepy Navy town back then. Um,
Wow,
and so, people didn't really give it much credit, but we carved a thing out there, which was really good. It was fun.
man.
Yeah.
The notable San Diego bands that you would like, from what I'm reading, you've been definitely a pillar in that scene. Of course, the Cockpits went on to form and morphed into the Dinettes, right? And then
Yes.
you on the Penetrators.
Yeah, I sang backups with the Penetrators for several years. And then I also played in a band called Trousers, which was a
Yes,
ska,
ska
yeah,
band.
reggae band. And yeah, I did that for quite a while. Who else did I play with there? And then I recorded, with different people, and a little bit with the Beat Farmers, Manual Scan, Burning Bridges, bands like that.
Man, was the Trousers the first ska band from San Diego?
Oh
I had to
yeah,
ask that.
yeah. I mean,
Wow.
there was a reggae band in Orange County called the Rebel Rockers, and they
Huh.
were really popular. And sometimes we would play with them, but they were pretty huge, in the scene, in the reggae scene. Yeah.
Man, with the Dinettes, like, um, I was wondering. Excuse me, sorry, I had
Hi,
to close the door. It's
Mary.
noisy. I'm
Yeah,
so sorry. This is so
I'm
ghetto.
kind of blown
I'm
away
just
by all
hearing.
the people on here. This is pretty wild to me. Yeah.
Yes, and also, audience, please chime in. Like that's why we made this the way it is, because we want the homies and even other admirers that you have to come in
Uh,
and just salutations and
wow.
questions and what. Man, so with the Dinettes, as far as like you guys were pretty much, were you the first all-female punk band
Oh,
too? Like them
oh
and
yeah.
the
Yes.
wow,
Yeah, and
in San
so
Diego.
we had a couple of places that we would play in town. There were the Lions Club was just a Lions Club hall, and people would put shows on there. And then we would play at a place called the Skeleton Club, which was in downtown San Diego. And then later the Zebra Club, but that was more when I was with Trousers. But the Skeleton Club we played a lot, and bands got booked in there. The Go-Go's played, the Plugs, Lydia Lunch.
Wow.
I mean, all kinds of really great bands, came through because, there really weren't any places to play. So if bands were on tour, in LA or whatever, and they're going across the country or whatever, up and down the coast, and they needed a place to kind of play. So that was it. And
Man,
yeah.
speaking of places to play, you were in a all girl battle of the bands, facilitated by Kim Fowley,
Oh
the
yeah.
Runaways manager.
Yes.
Like, what was that all about?
Well, he found out about us. I think he probably looked into every female band that was around at that time. But he formed another band after the Runaways called the Orchids, and
Huh.
so we were supposed to play this battle of the all-girl bands at the Cuckoo's Nest in Costa Mesa, and yeah, we went, we played. They never showed up. So that was kind of a crazy thing that happened. Yeah, yeah.
What
But
bands were
yeah,
you guys
Kim.
playing against?
Yeah,
I'm
Kim was
sorry.
around. And he also when I was playing in Trousers, he came to San Diego to see us, and he brought people. He brought Jake Riviera from Stiff Records to see us, and some other people, Denny Bruce, who, you know, I'm still friends with him, and yeah, but we never got a deal.
Man,
The deal. Yeah.
what a trip, man. Like, do you remember any of the bands that you were against? You guys were like playing against?
No, it was really just us and the orchids. That's how it was supposed to be. It was something he set up, and I have no idea what happened, but you know, they never showed up, and we figured that it was because they were afraid of us or something.
San
Yeah,
Diego. Yeah, I've
yeah,
heard crazy stuff about the Cuckoo's Nest back in the
yeah, yeah.
day. Of
That's
course,
where
the
all,
Vandals, Urban Struggle, you know,
yes,
like that's kind of like
all the Orange County punk bands played there. Yeah.
man, what a trip. You guys also played what the Western Front Fest organized by Jello Biafra.
Yeah,
Like tell us about that.
that was really great. That was a lot of fun. I can't remember. I mean, you know, there's a lot of things that are lost in memory, but I think it was like a 2 or 3 day thing. And so, you know, we drove to San Francisco, stayed at friend's house, and we played at the Deaf Club, which was really so much fun and really great. And then we played, I think, a couple of nights at Mabuhay
Wow.
after that. And we played with the Bags. And I remember Giza X. I don't know. I think the Dead Kennedys played on one of those nights, but yeah, there was just so much. It's hard to remember some things. You know, it was wild,
Man,
crazy, and fun. Yeah,
I remember.
yeah.
I heard. Well, the first time I ever heard of the Deaf Club was the Dead Kennedys recording when I had that tape. Uh, Give us convenience or something. The song Short Songs and Straight A's, and I just remember reading that was recorded at the Deaf Club. Was it an actual? I heard that there was an actual like club where for deaf people.
Yes,
Really?
yeah, yeah, and it was great. So they liked it because they could feel the vibrations, and people would carry balloons because the balloons would vibrate with the sound of the bass and the drums, and so and people were dancing and having fun. But then in between, you know, it's all kind of quiet, and there's signing to people, and yeah, it was really a great time there. They were so much fun, really nice too.
That's so rad. That is rad, man. Like, and I have a video. You know, I put that video on the stories of the performance
Yeah.
there, man. That's some good stuff, man.
Oh,
I mean,
thanks.
man, does the Dinettes or the Cockpits have like anything that any like retrospectives or anything that there's out there right now, or is it just kind
No,
of
I
hard to
mean
find?
we recorded stuff, but you know, again, it never was put out. So I have I have a demo, and then there's the music from the video from, you know, live at the Deaf Club or Mabuhay, and I think that might be it. Trying to remember the Target Video are the people that made the videos, and they made a lot of videos of bands up in the Bay Area. They're a really great archive. So I know some of that stuff is on YouTube, and I've watched one thing about about the De- dead Kennedys, deaf Kennedys, and then other things about the Western Front. So they're out there on YouTube.
Man, it's so rad, man. Did you guys ever play the Mask or any of the LA clubs like that? The
No, we
Vex?
didn't. No, we never got to play any of those places. Cafe de Grand. It wasn't until much later that I actually played a bunch of the clubs, but by that time the Mask was gone, and so was Cafe de Grand. I don't know if you know Tequila Mockingbird,
Yeah,
and she
yeah.
the
I know
punk
who
rock.
she is.
Yeah, yeah. So she's got, I think, pretty good archives of a lot of that stuff too, and was around for that. So I used to kind of get upset because I had grown up in LA and then I moved to San Diego, and so when all that stuff was going on in LA, I was like, I, you know, kind of wanted to be up there, but you know, I got back up there later.
I was gonna ask, and I was gonna bring that up just because I wanted to talk about like how you got into music, and I was gonna actually ask you about that. Like, did you move up? Did you move from LA to San Diego for college, or I mean for the arts program, or
My
like
husband
when
is
did
from
that happen?
there. Yeah, my husband is from San Diego, so that's, how I ended up going there. And yeah, and so, but I did. I grew up in LA and moved to San Diego in 74, 75. And then I was at UCSD learning ceramics. And so when I met the Dinettes, they were also students at UCSD, not Sean, but Dorio and Jolie. They were, students there. And so that's kind of how I made that connection. And actually, the first Cockpits gig was at UCSD at, I think it was called Porter's Pub there or Walker's Pub, and we opened for the Alley Cats. And then we started playing a lot
Wow,
of gigs with the Alley Cats. I mean, we played in Las Vegas with the Alley Cats, which was kind of fun. And
man, yeah,
those guys were great. I love those people. Yeah, they're really, really good band.
yep, San Pedro's
Yeah,
own Alley Cats.
yeah, yeah.
um, so even like tell us more about UCSD. Like for those that don't know, how would you describe it?
Well, back then in the 70s, it was still one of the newer campuses. So, and it's on a bluff in La Jolla, and it's, the ocean is right near there, and Salk Institute is across the street. Um, and trying to think. So I took ceramics class at the craft center, which was part of the school but not like accredited. So it was never graded, and I started learning ceramics, and then I got good enough where I started teaching ceramics there, and I was there for a really long time doing that. And then I met the Cockpits and I joined them, and I was making pottery and and playing in the band. And yeah, that was good times. And trying to think, how that all came together. But I was there for a really long time, and then somewhere over the course of the years when the Dinettes, well, I left the Dinettes, and I ended up working at Tower Records in San Diego, and I worked at Tower for about, I don't know, I think 4 or 5 years, and then I got a job working at Capitol EMI. It was called SEMA Distribution. So that's when I moved back to LA, and worked in the marketing department in the Capitol building, and that was did that for several years.
Yeah, I remember reading that about you, and what would you say? Because how did that happen? Working, um, just like what got your interest? What sparked your interest to work on that side of the music business? As far as like just, I mean, going. I mean, of course, you're in a record store, but like, what like got your interest in doing that?
It was
If you
it
don't mind me
was
asking.
just a way to move up and make a little more money because I pretty much maxed out at Tower, and so I couldn't make any more money. And then a lot of people who worked at Tower Records, they kind of would move into working for record companies at some point along the line. And so I thought, okay, well, this is a good little stepping stone. I mean, I still wanted to play, and I did, but I like having a paycheck and I like having a home and all of that kind of
I
thing. And
understand
yeah,
that.
yeah. So, and then I could still be working with music and also learn a lot about the industry, which I learned I hated it, but it's I still loved the music. Always loved
Man,
it.
and with that, I have to ask you this question. I wrote this
Okay.
down. I'm glad that you said this. What was the thing that dissuaded you from working in the music industry? I'm glad that you said what you just
Uh,
said. Set it up
I
for the
mean,
next question.
really, oh, I'd go to meetings one week, and there would be, talking about certain bands, and back then there are no laptops or anything. People would have stacks of, computer printouts, and they would go. And these are some of like the higher ups. And so one week, they'd be really promoting a band, and oh, yeah, and then the next week you would not hear of this band again, because they weren't selling, they didn't have the numbers, that they were looking for. So, pretty much it was like lawyers and accountants. And I'm a music person, so I guess that's not suitable for the business. But I think they need more people like me, and also because I came from a record store and I didn't come from a corporation, I wasn't a lawyer or anything. People would say stuff to me, yeah. So how are things going on the street? What's going on the street? I'm like, really? I mean, because I worked in a record store. It's because they're really pretty much out of touch, with what's going on. It's really all about the numbers and who can make the most money for them and that kind of thing. So, yeah, it's kind of discouraging. But I'm glad that
Man,
to see both sides. And also I kept playing during that time too. Like I joined this band that was kind of a reggae cover band, and mostly just so I could keep playing. And I would, go to work in the day, and then I would go and play 4 sets a night, and then I come back to work the next morning. And I did that
that's some
for a while.
dedication.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there needs to be more people like yourself in that industry. I mean,
They don't want people like myself in that
man,
industry. Yeah.
you're too punk rock for them, or yeah, a musician. Period.
Yeah,
Really, it's just
they really pretty much don't have much respect, for musicians unless they make a lot of money for them. Then it's all good.
man. Yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah.
With that, I know that you play guitar, but you also are a
Yeah.
cellist.
Yes.
And from what I understand, which one did you start first?
I started
And
with cello. Cello is my first instrument. And and all my friends were playing guitar in high school and stuff, and so I begged my parents for a guitar, even though I loved my cello, and I begged them for that, and I had lessons and everything. I mean, really, I've just wanted to play music since I was a little kid. And I had piano lessons, but we didn't have a piano because it was pretty expensive. But then in junior high, I was able to join the orchestra, and I really wanted a violin. And the teacher got through everybody's names, and when he got to me, they were out of violins. And then he goes, "Well, you have good cello hands," and so he gave me a cello, and I was like, "Okay." I mean, I'm just happy that I can play things, play instruments. I just had to have music. So, I played, and then all my friends are playing guitar, and I'm listening to everything on the radio, and so I got a guitar and started listening to records and learning chords from records and stuff from my friends. Yeah.
who were your earlier music inspirations, if you don't mind me asking? Especially
Well,
like,
yeah. I mean, growing up at home, my mom was a really huge music person, and she played jazz all the time. But then, my dad liked whatever was on the radio, all the pop music, and so we pretty much heard all that stuff. My mom got me classical records when I was a little kid, and then she played all the jazz greats, all the singers, and just in all genres. And she used to call herself a hillbilly because she was from West Virginia. And so she listened to country music. We heard Hank Williams and so Patsy Cline, stuff like that when I was growing up, on top of Duke Ellington and everything else. So yeah. Uh, and in those days on the radio played everything. It wasn't so broken down. I mean, Motown, of course, but the Beatles, of course. I love the Beatles, Rolling Stones, all that stuff.
man,
Yeah, it's just so much.
any guitarist or cellist that kind of like caught your fancy when it comes to like just people that you admire, like that play the instrument that you do in that regard too?
Um, yeah, the first cellist was Jacqueline Dupre, And
Mm.
she was a young woman, and she was a maestro. She was amazing, and so definitely her. Um, Rostropovich, people like that, Piatigorsky, and I used to always, would hope that I could go to USC and study with one of those people, but that didn't happen. But
Man,
yeah. But
man.
I did listen to those things. And growing up in LA, we had access to a lot of stuff. This is like back in the days before they started cutting everything. So I had we get to go to concerts, and the school system would take us, to opera. So I saw operas, all kinds of concerts. I went to the Hollywood Bowl a lot. There were lots of student discounts, so I'd go and see classical, performers and ballet and things like that. So,
So cool.
yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, who are your favorite classical composers?
Oh, God, there's so many. I mean, back in the old days, I would say Bach for sure. All the B's, the Brahms, Beethoven, and then I love like a lot of contemporary, Philip Glass, Steve Reich. I like a lot of different kinds of music. So yeah, I pretty much I'm not like stuck on one genre or anything. I just really like anything that's good, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of good stuff in all the genres.
I love a lot of quartet music, especially by Bartok. I like a
Yeah, oh
lot of that
yeah,
stuff.
yes.
I mean, man, him and people like a lot of people.
Uh,
How could I say? Some people have a certain opinions about the Viennese three. People like Arnold Schoenberg. They
oh
they kind of a
yeah,
little frightened.
those are really important. Yeah, those are important composers. I mean, now I think, some of that is it's kind of old school now. I
I
mean,
love
because other stuff happening. But yeah. I mean, it's just kind of too much to mention. There's a long list of stuff.
I remember, not to sidetrack, but when I tried to teach the 12-tone row to a bunch of heavy metal guys, like in
Uh-huh.
my guitar class,
Yeah.
like these are death metal guys, and I'm into all that stuff too.
Yeah.
Dude, they didn't come to class. It's a drop-in center that I work at. They didn't come to class next week, and one of the guys opened up. He's like, "That stuff's just a little too weird."
Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Like
I
what we're
was like,
doing for
"Come on."
dude. Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I'll listen to all kinds of metal. When I worked at Tower, there were a bunch of people that, I mean, back then it was, Iron Maiden, Metallica when Metallica was new.
Yeah,
And, just all that stuff. I heard it all, and I grew to appreciate it.
yeah.
And,
It's
yeah.
just funny though. Metalheads can't get into Schoenberg. I'm like, dude, they're
Uh,
doing 12-tone stuff.
yeah,
But
well, Frank Zappa could, but
yeah, love Frank Zappa.
yeah.
Man, wow, yeah, I dig a lot of that stuff. Um, you have solo stuff that you've done too. I mean, I read about an album called Composure, or it's an EP, and also Top Secret.
Yeah, yeah. So
Tell
Top Secret
tell
was a
tell us about that.
single I recorded in I guess in the early 80s, and it was just a one-sided single on red vinyl. And because it's just like we were poor. I didn't have enough money to like go in the studio and spend a lot of time. And really, I have to say I used to hate being in the studio because it was very stressful. You had to have everything together, and you couldn't waste time because it was money, at that point. So these days it's a little bit easier because I do stuff at home. Um, and yeah, so I recorded Top Secrets. I put that out. I got airplay in like Belgium and
Rad.
some upstate New York and places like that. And then later in like the early 2000s, I got my first studio rig. I mean, I already had like a little 4-track cassette that I would record stuff myself, but never really took that. too far. But then once I got the computer and software and I started learning stuff, um, that's when I made a bunch of songs at Composure and that. So I guess that's technically an EP, and I should put it out as an EP. I don't know. It's just kind of trying to do it all myself. It's kind of gets a little much after a while. And other things are
Man,
going on. I'm working, and so I mean, and really, what people have to realize is that through all this stuff, I've always had a day job, and I mean, a full-time day job. So, but I just kind of have to keep it going. I take time off, and I could go on tours sometimes with bands, and come back to work, use my vacation time, do
that's
that.
so cool.
Yeah, yeah. So like I think I was mentioning, like I really want to try and like get something at least pressed before this show in March, so I can have something in your hands. But most of the stuff that I have put up on Bandcamp and SoundCloud, I just kind of considered them demos because I never had them mastered, and it was just me by myself doing everything. And I'd love to go back in the studio with somebody and just kind of tighten everything up a little bit, or maybe it doesn't need tightening up. I don't know, but yeah,
Wow. Yeah,
yeah.
I've heard some stuff, but I'd like to hear more. Especially, I was looking for some sound bites of the top secret stuff, and I couldn't find it. I'm like, man, where can
Oh
I find that?
yeah, yeah. Oh, I'll get you something there. Yeah, I don't really have that in a digital format. I guess I need to do that and
Man,
put
I'll
that
even
together.
buy it on the CD or record format too.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm old
yeah,
school like that.
yeah. I'll get you one.
So
Yeah.
when did you start playing cello? Like more? Was it when you started? Like, was it with your solo stuff, or even collaborating with people like David J? Which I dig a lot of the stuff that I've heard from you and him. Man, how did that even come about? I'm sorry
Uh,
for asking like two questions in one.
yeah. Well, first, since I like everything, and when I was working in LA, I met some. Trying to remember who I met first. I think Michael Nold, and he's a musician, and he has a lot of things out. And so I did some studio work with him. I played cello on some stuff, and in that process, I met Carla Olson, um, who had a band called the Textones, and they used to play a lot, really really great. Kind of rocking. I don't know, maybe I'd say alt country a little bit. But so I met her, and then I met another guy who was friends of Michael, and he had a band called Wait for Nothing. And that's when I started really, playing full on with the band. And they were really loud, and, I had to kind of wrangle to get a pickup. And for a long time, a lot of pickups were not available for cello. I finally got one, and I could finally, play with this band and, use my big guitar amp and stuff with that. And I went on tour with them a couple times. We went to the Netherlands. We played a festival there called the Night Before Pink Pop. And Pink Pop is like a huge festival. We played the night before, which is also big. And then, we played in Germany, played in Cologne and some places. And then, and I came back, and that's pretty much when I really started playing with bands. And then this is around 94, and the Northridge earthquake came. And I was at that point just kind of done with working in the record business, and I decided that we were going to move back to San Diego. So Northridge earthquake just like made that happen, and we moved back to San Diego. And that's when I met David J, and he was living in Encinitas. My husband had a little bookstore and gallery, and David came in, and my husband told me, and I was like, wow, what's he doing here? Because I was always a big fan of Bauhaus and
Oh
Love and
yeah.
Rockets, and all the bands, even Tones on Tails, which is Daniel's band. And so they were on the Bauhaus Resurrection tour, and after he came back, then we met and hooked up. But
Wow.
yeah, I also played during that time with Cindy Lee Berryhill, who's
Hmm.
kind of an alt folk chanteuse, I would say, and she still plays a lot and is quite good. And she regularly uses a cellist too, so. Yeah, yeah. So I just kind of carve out a spot for me to be, and I have a good feel for that. I'm not afraid to kind of rock out on the cello.
That's so cool.
And
I know how it is with the pickups, me playing upright bass and trying to play through a distortion at times. So I totally, when you said that, I'm like, I know. And I love rocking out with stuff like that too. It's always cool to see a cello or a cellist do that because, like, man, it's rare. Like, I mean, I think that band, the Rachels, and then my friend Justice Constantine, he's a composer. He plays the cello as well.
uh,
But it's rare to see that. And
yeah.
like, by the way, I love that Jeepster, kind of Jeepster cover that you did with Nicey
Oh, with
Nicey.
Nicey Nice World. Oh yeah. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think which song that was. Yeah, we would just like start jamming, and then he would record. It was really great, and we'd turn them into songs. Yeah. What
Yeah, I
is?
like T-Rex. So I'm like, oh, I got my T-Rex button somewhere over here. But yeah, I was like, man, they think they're slick. It sounds dope though, because she's killing it on that cello with that Jeepster, man. It's still raw and rocking, man. I like a lot of what I heard from that group too, like
Yeah,
really
that was a lot
avant-garde.
of just fun noise and sounds and everything, and the theremin. Yeah, and Marcelo is super talented. He's really good. So I recommend checking out his music too. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I got to
good.
check that out. I love what I heard. So is Cabaret Obscuro and three like like how different are those? I know they're all David J, and I know you
Oh,
played on his solo stuff too.
yeah, really different. So three was just a project that I did with David and Don Tyler. And we just kind of went in the studio and originally that music was supposed to we're trying to get it into a film,
Mm.
where the wild things are. We're going to make a film of that. And
No
so
way.
we recorded that album. And then Cabaret Oscuro was what I did with David J. And we toured with that. A lot of songs. We did a couple of Love and Rocket songs, and then other songs that he, were his. And yeah, it was pretty fun to play all that stuff and kind of strip down versions. We'd play Bela Lugosi, and Rainbird, some Love and Rocket songs, and then some of David's solo stuff. Songs by Smog, which would just fun collection of music.
Man, that's so cool, man. I mean, shoot, if y'all ever play again, especially in the LA area, I will definitely come out and see what's up, like, or if you have any gigs, man, it's so rare. Do you ever do any gigs with both cello and guitar?
I haven't yet, but I'm getting ready to do that. Yeah, I'm getting ready to do. I mean, lately I just haven't been liking my guitar playing very well, but I still play. And what I do out here is I've been playing with an orchestra up in Joshua Tree, so that's Joshua Tree Philharmonic, and so I've been doing that for the last couple of years, and that's more of I don't know. I wouldn't call them a strictly pops orchestra, but it's the kind of stuff that I've never done with an orchestra. All the other orchestral music I've done has been pretty traditional, classical, and then sometimes we play Star Wars or some John Williams or whatever. But this orchestra, that it's kind of a little bit of a multimedia. We rehearse in a black box theater, and then when we have concerts, they're also in that theater with some visuals and stuff. So yeah, it's real fun. It's just interesting. It keeps me interested because I've never done it before.
That's so cool,
Yeah.
man. what's the scene out there in Coachella? I mean, everyone knows the festival, but as far as like, it seems like from reading like just your involvement, it gives me an open door into like just a thriving art scene. I mean, people don't know. I mean, they know about like LA and New York, but like they always think of the city and things like that, but no one thinks of the desert. Of course, you have, bands like Caius and
Oh
all
yeah,
that, but like,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
Yeah, Queens of the Stone Age and that kind of thing. I think down in the low desert, which is where I live, which is the Coachella Valley, there's a different kind of a scene than what goes on up in the high desert, which is Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, and 29 Palms, all of those places. And so there's like down here, it seems like there's a lot of clubs. I shouldn't say clubs, but it's kind of like geared towards older people. So there's a lot of covers and jazz or kind of Frank Sinatra kind of stuff, Great American Songbook artists, that kind of thing going on. And there's some really good musicians here that play that stuff. And then up in the high desert, it's a lot wackier, I think. I mean, there's Graham Rabbit or Jessica Von Rabbit and some other bands, Flames of Durga, and then Pappy and Harriet's is up there, and all kinds of bands come through and play. So I don't know. It's kind of cool. And then there's a lot of stuff I don't even know, and I discover and go, wow. There's some cool stuff going on out here.
that's right.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, somebody I know said, oh, there's nothing going on, or it's hard to, get into anything, but there is stuff happening. You just gotta kind of look and, yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
yeah, that's real, real cool. What was I gonna ask? Things that you're working on right now, even in art and music. I know that there's a few events, if you don't mind plugging. I mean, there's the Sound and Vision Fest, and then the art studio. The what is it? Oh man,
Desert,
let me
Desert
remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Desert Open Studios. That's this weekend. And that is strictly art. The show that I'm doing in March, it's called Sound and Vision, and it's at a gallery called Mad Cat Gallery in Rancho Mirage. And so what they wanted to do was find musicians who are visual artists also. So there's several people. Well, Joan Baez, I don't know if she'll be there, but her paintings will be
Wow.
there. Penelope Houston from the Avengers. Trying to think of who else. A bunch of Steve Wynn from Dream Syndicate.
Wow.
Myself, yeah, yeah. So, and the show, I can't remember the date of the opening, but the show will be running through most of March, and I think during Coachella too. So, maybe some people will show up to just check it out. But I should look for that date and make sure I
Yeah,
don't.
I didn't even know that Joan Baez painted. I didn't know Penelope Houston painted. I
Yeah,
mean, I
there's a
know them
lot of
mostly for
people
their
that do
music.
different stuff. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Hey, Joni Mitchell, she considers herself a painter before she considers herself a musician, really. That's what she did first. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of people, I mean, Ron Wood, he does art.
Grace Slick
Even
too,
even
right?
yeah, even Grace Slick. Yeah, yeah, a lot of people. So yeah, it kind of makes sense to me. Who did,
Yeah.
yeah, art and music, they go together.
Yeah. I used to do comics, and I actually used to paint on box tops, and the only thing that I probably have done like more now is just stuff online where I have these mock I have to send you one of them. They're on my other page.
Oh,
Kind of like
okay.
mock depictions of certain political figures I think are very not cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like I just basically have a demonic manifestation of what character I think they
Yeah.
have. It's really crazy. But like I haven't I always admire like just a lot of artists though, because I don't really draw like I used to or paint, but I always admire, especially like a lot of graffiti artists and stuff too.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I've always been a fan of that as
Yeah.
well. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I like that
Man,
too. I've pretty much always made stuff since I was a little kid, you know, sewed, knit, crochet, you know, not much of a drawing person, but always like making stuff with my hands. So, you know, the ceramics and all of that, which have been doing again. I work part-time up in Pioneer Town, and I at the pottery, although my hands have been messed up the last few weeks. But yeah, I will. I will. I'll get those dates for you. That Sheila's asking me a question. So, yeah, I don't, I don't know. I can look on my computer. I'll see. I'll check it out here and find out. Um, yeah, I just, I just like to make stuff all the time.
what
Jewelry.
got you into doing that,
Huh?
if you don't mind me asking? What
I
got you into just doing that kind of art too?
it just kind of just make working with my hands and you know, I think as a little kid I spent a lot of time by myself, and I was always reading and just kind of in my own little world making stuff, and you know I always had some kind of art supplies to make things with. So yeah, I just, you know, kind of a weirdo loner kid is what I was. Yeah.
How do you like being on the teaching side of that as well? I mean, like, I myself am a music teacher, and
Uh-huh.
like, I'm not a college grad or anything
Yeah.
like that. I dropped out of college,
Yeah. Well,
but
me,
it's a
me
gift.
too. I spent a lot of time in a university setting, but I am not a graduate. I just spent a lot of time around people and a lot of really, really smart people. And I used to, um, you know, teach people that like had advanced degrees. But that's
Mm,
okay. You know, just kind of worked out. That way. And so I kind of like that that whole vibe, but I'm not an academic when it comes down to it. Uh,
but the thing is,
I
Joyce,
just like to
because
learn. I like learning. Learning is like all you can just learn all the time.
yep,
I think that's yeah.
the fact that people are asking for you to teach them and stuff too, it just shows that it's more than just like being, you are an academic, but in not the same way that probably most people would think. You know things that a lot of people probably don't know.
Yeah.
And it's like the fact that you've harnessed that thing, cats want to learn that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah.
just my
Yeah.
opinion.
I guess I would have never the only thing that I don't teach cello.
Ooh.
I just yeah, no, I've never taught music. And there's some reasons why I don't even want to say why, but I have some
I
shortcomings,
didn't
and
get that.
so
Could you try again?
oh no, go away, Siri. Yeah, no, yeah,
No problem. I
okay,
won't.
goodbye. Siri's talking to me on the computer. I was just gonna go look for some dates here. And see what I can find. But yeah, so I would rather leave that to other people that do it really, really well. I feel like I have a good feel on the instrument, and I can play a lot of things. But you know, I never was a great sight reader. I mean, I do read, but there's just some things that I just didn't think I did as well. But I have a really good feel, and I have a good musical head, so
I was
that
gonna ask you about
keeps me
that.
going. Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm more of an improviser myself.
yeah.
I've played like high school orchestra, and I've taught some level like beginning theory or whatever
Hmm.
just for my guitar class. But
Hmm.
my thing is like I love feeling, like I love improvisation. I
Yeah,
love like I can put together a song, but like you get me in a room with anyone, I don't care if they don't know how to play. I could jam out with
yes,
them, you know. Like
that's it.
so I totally
Yeah,
get what you're saying, you know.
yeah,
I
yeah.
suck at sight reading.
Yeah, I like doing that. That's always good. So yeah, and a lot of people can't improvise. So you know, there's that. And I don't have a set style. People go, "Oh, do you play jazz? You must play." And I'm like, no, not really. But I, you know, understand it and I can hear it. I recently in October I went to see Peter Gabriel, and
Love Peter Gabriel.
he had this really amazing cellist, this black woman from England, and she was so good playing and singing and everything. I have to look up her name, but she was amazing, and so that was like really a good, you know, shot for me to
That's so
see her
rad.
play. Yeah, she was really wonderful. You know, she did a lot of stuff working with him and, you know, singing all those songs that, well, Kate Bush sang, you know, Don't Give Up. And did they sing? I'm trying to think of the other one. But anyway, they, you know,
Games
yeah.
Without Frontiers. They
Oh,
had to have done
they
that.
did. No, they didn't. You know why?
What?
Because the concert was just a few days after October 7th, and so I think he like opted out of playing that one. He played everything else except for that song,
Wow.
and it probably would have felt weird. And he had a few words to say about, you know, people and you know, just wanting peace. And it was so good. It was like the perfect thing for that time, because that was like a really weird week, you know, with the war starting and, you know, people just really being in a weird state. So it was really good to see him and hear what he had to say about that. And his voice, oh my God, his voice sounds amazing. He sounds great. Just, you know, just like
He's one
everybody.
of my faves.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm an early Genesis fan, so that's
Oh,
how
yeah.
I mean, you know, I
I
heard, of course, the stuff
saw
with,
them
you
back
know,
in the day.
oh yeah.
I saw The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. I told Spring
What?
that. Yeah, it was great. I used to see
You
great
saw
shows.
that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my
I
God.
saw
I
that,
love that
and
album.
I saw you know, Iggy Pop when he did The Idiot, and he had David Bowie playing keyboards and or piano,
Wow.
and yeah, we used to see like the most incredible shows, and they were like $7. Whoa, so much money.
Man,
But yeah. And with good seats and everything, and that was, you know, just back in the day when you could do that.
that's so rad.
Yeah,
Man.
Led
It's
Zeppelin, all of it. Yeah.
dang, man. That's like, it's funny. You reminded me of another musician I know. He was talking about seeing King Crimson in '74 when Red
Yeah,
came out, and it was barely anyone there. I'm like, what? That's like my
yeah,
favorite era.
yeah, yeah. Oh gosh, I remember when I got in the court of the Crimson King, and so I had this little turntable record player. A record player is what it was, and I actually take it out in the garage and play it because it was just too weird, you know. My mom, everybody played everything in the house, but that one was just so weird, you know, back then. But now it's like, nothing.
That 21st century schizoid, man.
Yeah, yeah,
Man, ooh,
yeah,
that song rules.
yeah. Robert Fripp, man.
Yeah, I heard that they actually have a movie that just came out. My friend was telling me, like, you go see it quick, man. And like a lot of, I've seen previews, but I haven't seen the movie. I would love
Oh,
to see
okay.
it, man.
Oh, all right. Of that time, King Crimson.
Oh no, just about King Crimson in general, and
Oh,
Robert.
okay.
Like, it's like a documentary, you
Yeah,
know, and
yeah,
people
yeah.
are talking about working with him.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I love that band though. That's like one of my favorite bands.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
I have to ask, speaking of King Crimson, when you first heard that song, Court of the Crimson King, didn't it sound like a more somber version of the Moody Blues? Like, that's what it
That
reminded me of, man.
that song, yeah, it had that feel because it had the mellotron in it. That's, you know, the mellotron was the thing that gave it that sound. And then that was on one of those songs, that album, Lucky Man. That was the song I learned on guitar, and I used to play that and sing it and everything. Yeah.
Wow. Ooh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Greg Blake, man. That album with Lizards by King Crimson, that album is a trip. Like,
Yeah.
I could talk about all their albums. Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool, man. Like, just like I think the same way you do when it comes to music. People have asked me, you know, am I like a jazz player? And then I've had jazz musicians ask me who I've studied under. I'm like, I've never studied under anything. I just basically I said, if you think that I'm a jazz player, I must be mimicking really good.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't know,
Yeah.
like,
No, I mean it's in my head because
yeah.
my mom used to play that stuff all the time, and on Saturday was like kind of house cleaning day, and we go, Mommy, we don't want to hear that jazz music, and she would play jazz all day long, and but now I'm like, oh great, that was a really good education there. All the singers, all the sax players, everybody, heard it all. So the
Have
band.
your parents? Oh, I'm sorry. Have your
Mhm.
parents ever seen you play
My
live?
mom, yeah, my mom did. Yeah, yeah, yeah. She came to see me at the Zebra Club one time. Yeah, yeah. So,
So cool.
yeah, they're no longer here. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Well, man, I really appreciate you. Like, is there anything that you want to plug your website, plug anything that you want? And if there's anybody in the audience that wants to say something, please feel free.
Yeah, say something. I can't believe how many people have showed up for this. That's kind of blowing my mind a little bit. But yeah, I think just make me put some music out. I have to, get the music out. I was thinking that the other day. It's just like I need to get it out of my system so I can make some new stuff. So that's what I'm trying to do. Got to get rid of all this old stuff that I've had hanging around and ready to, go on to the new stuff. Thanks, Mary. Oh, have a great show this weekend. Yeah.
Correct.
So a bunch of us are, we're all in this Desert Open Studios. So that should be pretty fun. And if you're out in the desert, pick up a map or go online to Desert Open Studios, and you can download a map. And there's so many good people out here. There's some amazing artists out here, and up in the high desert too. But that's a different show.
Man, that's just so cool that like you're doing what you love, like
Yeah.
that's the thing. I mean, as artists, it's kind of hard not to. Like, I just feel like we can't be normal in that
Yeah,
regard.
well, I think, like I said, I've always like worked and kept doing all of this stuff, and then a couple of years ago, I technically retired, and so now I can just do this full time, and I've just been really busy the whole, couple of years. I mean, I feel like a lot of older people come out here, and then they retired, and then they, kind of play golf or whatever, I don't know, drink too much. And I'm like, I just have so much to do.
Man,
Thank you. Thank you, Mary.
so
Yeah.
cool, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm trying to squeeze out as much as I can while I'm still here.
Well, shoot, I'm looking forward to hearing some music. It'd
Yeah,
be cool to even jam out with you if like you ever come out this way. If I
yeah,
end up like traveling, does your
yeah.
husband play music?
No, not at all. No, not at all. No, he used to haul my equipment around. He used to be my roadie. Yeah, yeah. So he used to do that and set us up and stuff at gigs. But no, never. No, he's not a musician. And I'll tell you one thing that's really interesting in my new studio. I moved in and I'm in this little fourplex complex. And so next door, I have a hip hop producer, and then another person just moved in at the other end in another hip hop producer studio. So that's really kind of cool, I think. Yeah.
Heck yeah,
And
that's an
I
incentive.
give a plug to Desert Hot Springs. So, when I got this space, it's in the designated arts and cultural district. And I'm kind of the first person here. There's other artists in town, but I'm kind of the first person in this little area in the downtown. And I hope to see it kind of blossom in the few years. There's little things happening here and there, and I think the town has had a bad rep, but it's actually pretty cool, and there's a lot of good stuff going for it. So I'd like to see that continue.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool, man. Well, shoot. one thing that I will ask also, I guess this would be the last question from me. What advice would you give just the world, or just any of us, like what advice would you give in general? Like
Don't give up. Keep doing what you love the most. And I mean, really persevere. It's not easy. I mean, it hasn't all been easy, but I just kind of keep doing it. And, I can't help myself. So, yeah, persevere, do your thing, and, do it the best of your ability, and don't try not to be discouraged. There's a lot of discouraging, moments out there, but, if you know you were meant to do this, just keep at it. Uh, don't give up. Yeah.
I definitely need to hear that. I really appreciate it. Like
Thanks,
it's an honor
Sheila.
to interview you. And seriously, like, man, you guys, like, check her out. Like, is there a website that they could go to?
Well,
Or
I have my website, and I'm my own webmaster. I'm like trying to do all this stuff myself, so some stuff doesn't get updated or done. And I was looking at it. I used to have some links to Bandcamp and SoundCloud, and I've got to put them back on. I don't know what happened, but I have a SoundCloud page, Joyce Rooks, and I also have a Bandcamp page there, so you can find me there. Aw, thank you. And so yeah, that's where I have stuff, and I'm just trying to get it together to put some new stuff. I've been tinkering around, while I was working for the past 10 years. I worked at Whole Foods for 10 years. I kind of got away from like just recording and stuff at home. So now I'm kind of updated my software, and I'm just starting to get back out and trying to make some new sounds and things. And when I perform live, my cello and computer, I make all the loops and stuff. A lot of that stuff is not online, so I'm going to try and eventually get that together. I have to record my cello, and I want it to sound good, and I don't feel like I'm always that good with it. So there's some audio things I feel like I should have a professional help me with. So yeah.
live, I have to ask this. What pickups do you use for your cello? Because like it's always been a battle with me and my bass with that at times.
I use a David Gage Realist. So David Gage is I think he's a bass player, and he also makes, I think he made the stick.
Oh,
So, and I use one of his pickups. But now there's a few other ones out there that are pretty good too. But I can't remember the names right now. So yeah, I use that, and I was playing through an SWR amp that I had bought from a friend, which I really like, but it just got too heavy for me. So lately I got a Fishman, just a little amp, and and that's fine. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's got all the built-in chorus and delay and stuff, and so I can't use my pedals with it. So yeah, so I might have to haul the SWR around and just use that. But otherwise, that's where I'm at now. I mean, I've gone from like a Music Man amp, a Fender Twin, and had to get smaller because I'm old. Getting old,
no, I
so,
hear you on that. Man,
yeah.
you just reminded me that I actually had an SWR back in the day, man.
Uh-huh.
I had a GK, but that thing gave out. Gallon Krugers are
Oh
not
yeah,
bad,
yeah.
but like when they give out, they give out.
Yeah, no, I like the amp, and I still have it. It's just, it's, I don't know how many pounds it is, but it's much heavier than that little Fishman. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah. And then I have stomp boxes. I was looking the other day at a soft step, because I saw Zoe Keating playing one of those, and she's a cellist who played with Rasputina. I don't know if you
Huh.
know that band. Yeah, they
Yeah. Oh no, I know who
did
they
all
are.
yeah, she did all the cello with Nirvana back in the day. So, I was checking out what she was using, and I was like, I think I might get one of that, MIDI controller, and then I have all of my, I have Ableton that I use, and so I can, get all that working together.
Heck yeah, man. There's very few. I think the one band that comes to mind, I don't know if Gogo Brodello uses a cello, but
Uh,
the band The Salters used one, and they
who?
were pretty
Which
sick.
band? Which
They're
band?
called The Salters. They're from Philly. I don't think that they're around anymore, but
Uh,
check them out. My friend Scott was in that band for, I knew a bunch of those guys, but they had a cellist and it was different. It was
mhm.
experimental, but they kind of used their stuff with a lot of folk melodies from
Oh, oh,
like Eastern Europe type stuff to
oh,
like
yeah,
the
I like
Middle
that.
Eastern and
Yeah,
African stuff.
yeah. Yeah, I like Gogo Bordello. Yeah, like I said, I like everything. So I like kind of the Balkan beatbox thing. It's pretty fun.
Heck
So
yeah.
yeah.
Man, well, you guys
Hey, Night
have anything else
Cricket.
to say?
Right. That's really great. I just love this. This is really really blowing my mind to see people. But yeah.
Yeah, man. That's why I like doing these because it's more like everybody could talk to you and it's like a community thing, and then you see how like some of your homies and then new
Yeah,
people, social
yeah.
stuff was on here earlier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away by this. This is the first time I've done an Instagram thing like this, so it's pretty cool. Thank you for
Man.
having me. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, great. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I plan to be out there playing this year. So that's
Well, we're looking forward to it,
2024. Yeah.
Right. Well, you guys, here we have it. Musician, composer, teacher, artist,
Last
Joyce
person.
Rooks.
Yeah, I was like trying to see a little bit in my little studio space. It's kind of hard to see, but anyway, I'm gonna kind of be here all night trying to get everything up together. But I feel like I have nothing on the walls. I was in a space in Indio, which is about 26 miles from here. So I was driving a lot. And now I'm just 2 miles from my house, which is so much better. But the space I was in was so great, and the people that were out there too, I really love them. And a little bit missing people, but it's kind of nice to be alone in my own space. So, yeah, it'll come together.
Yeah, that's cool though. I mean, it's like that's cool that you even have a space like that. It's stuff like that is kind of hard to come by.
Yeah,
Like
it was really amazing how I got it. I can't believe it. I mean, because I kind of freaked out when I lost the other space, and I knew the show was happening in March, and so I kind of had to get it together, and I just had to run around and look, and it was almost immediately that it happened. So that was really good. Yeah, I hope to see you guys. Come on down and check it out.
so
So
cool.
yeah, so I got my work
Man.
cut out for me.
Just rad. Totally rad. Are these cats artists as well?
Who? Which,
Mary and Sheila?
yes, they are. Yes, yeah. Mary does some cool like found object sculptural pieces, and Sheila is a ceramic artist, and she paints and yeah, she makes soap. She does all kinds of things. It's very cool.
So
Hey
cool.
there, Mr. Night Crickets. Really cool to see you here. Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I just can't wait to pull all this shit together here.
Well, heck, man, we
uh,
really appreciate you.
yeah, it is David J.
What's up, David J?
Yeah,
Shouts to you too, man.
yeah.
So cool. Wow.
Yeah, so he was asking about Cabaret Oscuro earlier. So he's going to have, he's putting out a vinyl, I think, or yeah, yeah. So kind of a reissue of what we recorded several years ago. So that should be really cool. I can't wait to hear it.
That's
And
so
see.
rad,
Yeah, yeah. Oh my goodness.
man.
So many people here. I love it. Ah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, that's why we do this, man. We got to give you the, hopefully this was some cool flowers,
yes, it
like
is.
I
It really is. Yeah, unexpected. Really, really cool.
and I should have this up on YouTube probably like within a few days as well,
Okay.
because I have a YouTube channel as well,
All
Black History
right.
of Rock and Roll at YouTube.
Okay.
And man, I really appreciate just your work and your art and
Becky
stuff, like
Curtis. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. All the way from New York. It's the fabulous Becky Curtis. She's out there playing all the time too. That's really great.
that is wild.
Yeah.
Man. So now you have to put something
I
out.
do. I really do. I really do. I just got to gather it up. I need some help. Okay. So I'm not very good about asking stuff, but I'm going to have to get over that and, start putting it out there. Folks, I need some help. Get me in the studio.
Man,
Help me raise some money. Get me back in the studio to do this stuff. So, yeah.
there's a few studios in LA that I could recommend. I'll send you that information. One of the guys I'm hopefully going to be interviewing soon as well. He's a musician too, and I shouldn't talk because I have stuff that I need to do the same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I really do. It's way past time for me to put the stuff out. So I gotta release it into the world. Tired of hanging on to it.
David is like, yes, you do.
Yes, I do. I do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. Okay. Yeah. I'm ready. I am ready.
So rad. This is rad. Man. Well, man, it's so cool that we have this interview with you. And, if you have anything else to plug, we could rock that. But if you don't, we can sign out too,
Okay.
like whatever you want to do.
Okay, well, thank you. I mean, this is it. I've got my space here, and if y'all are in the desert this weekend, come on out and say hello, please. Yeah, and also check out some of the other artists because there's just so many good people out here.
This is the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th, right?
Yeah. Wait a second. I'm gonna get something, and I'll be right. I'm just gonna grab it over here. 1 moment.
Art studio event.
Yeah.
But she has all the info.
Okay. Sorry about that. I just have to get up and move. Here it is. Desert Open Studios. And if you go to this website, you can download a map and see where everybody is. We're all over. Is that backwards?
Yeah, it's kind of backwards. I'll post it. I'll post it on my page.
It's okay. Yeah, sorry. I just realized it was backwards.
No, that's cool.
Desert Open Studios. Yeah, okay. I do. I need a mirror here. I don't have one here. So, yeah. DesertOpenStudios.com, and you can find it. Yeah.
I will post it on my page, you guys.
Okay.
So like I'll post it on there for sure, and I'll put it in the stories. So you guys, if you're in that area, and even if you're not and just want to roll up there to check it out,
All right.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I really appreciate you, Joyce. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for this. This has really been a surprise and really great. Thank you.
Man, well, this is what we do on this channel. We give the flowers. We try to as much as we
Yeah,
can, and it's an honor to interview you. You
they're
know,
fabulous. Thank you. Awesome.
peace, blessings to you
Thank you.
guys. I
Have a
really
great
appreciate
night.
you too,
Okay.
and thank you,
And
Joyce.
I hope I
Thank
see
you, thank
y'all
you,
and
thank
y'all's
you.
around sometime. All right.
Wow. God bless you guys. Thanks.
Signing
Peace.
off. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.